So we just spoke about how to access your money. So let's speak about how to use that money and gear it towards generational wealth. And when we're speaking about generational wealth, we always have to keep in mind that it's not always about the lump sum that we have. It's about how we can turn this money into something, or what we can turn this money into. So when I'm speaking about that, you have to keep in mind that middle class citizens utilize life insurance completely different than a wealthy does. And what I mean by that is the very biggest difference that you'll see is the amount that they have. So for example, middle class families usually just get enough to be buried, or to have enough for the family to get past certain expenses. Wealthy individuals, they're usually getting enough insurance to be surplus for their family, or have enough insurance just to be able to throw enough cash into their policy. So biggest example is you'll typically find a middle class family just having like $100,000 because that's what they've heard they should have. But in reality, if you're someone with a family, you should be able to go through a very simple insurable need concept to let you know how much insurance you actually do need. And when I say that, a very simple formula is DIMEL. So D stands for debt, or any financial obligation that you have out there that could be a burden on your loved one. And that could be medical bills, it could be car loans, it could be anything in that nature that would keep a loved one in a financial destitute and not being able to thrive financially. The I stands for income. So you have to make a decision of the income that you make today. If something, God forbid, was to happen to you, how many years of that income would you want to leave behind for your loved ones? So maybe you have a spouse, or maybe you have young kids. God forbid, if something was to happen to you, can they, one, fend for themselves financially right away? And if they can't, how long do you want them to be able to get on their feet? The next thing is a mortgage. So how much is left on your mortgage, and how long is left? You want to make sure that's covered in your insurance as well. E usually stands for education or entrepreneurship, because nowadays college isn't the best route for everybody's kids. So if, God forbid, something was to happen to you today, would you want to leave behind money for your kids to go to college? Or would you want to leave behind would you want to leave behind money for your kids to be able to go into business for themselves? If so, how much would you want to leave on those concepts? The average cost of college is at least $100,000 for 4 years. Entrepreneurship can be whatever you want it to be. And the very last part of DIMEL is L, the legacy part. And that's your opportunity to, have control of how you want to be remembered in your loved ones' lives. Do you want to be the person who left behind a burden or a blessing? You get to have the opportunity to truly make a decision how you're remembered as a mother, a father, an auntie, uncle, a brother, sister, someone in the community, because you can leave that surplus not only for your loved ones, but you can leave a everlasting footprint in your community that you care about, or to a charity. And those are the biggest conversations, or one of the biggest conversations that I'll see a difference in when I'm speaking to a middle class family or someone who is wealthy and they actually are utilizing life insurance to, put the next generation ahead. Not only that, you'll see a big difference in the wealthy utilizing life insurance to be a tax advantage vehicle for money. We spoke about that once before, but it goes deeper than that. And they're literally stuffing cash into policies to be able to push it to the next person. And when they do push it to the next person, the next generation, that's when you have conversations of habit. Because again, remember I said it's not about the lump sum. It's more about what you can turn this money into. When you're turning money into generational wealth, it's more about habit. I'll be honest with you. Because think about it. When we have a relationship with money, there's some people that are better at consumerism than actually investing the money for it to work for them. Consumerism being, I'm going to pay off debt and I'm going to buy things that depreciate, versus going to invest into real estate, versus going to invest into a business, versus being able to put money into a trust, things like that. not necessarily focusing on making your money protected by probate. These are all things that the wealthy focuses on. So when we speak about conversations like that or have language like that, that's when we're gearing towards generational wealth faster. The other thing we always want to be mindful of when we're speaking about generational wealth is, yes, we have a lump sum, but how do we keep this money working for us? The wealthy is always going to do something smart, and what they're great at is, one, making money, but two, keeping this money working for them. They're not slaves to money, they make money slaves to them. And when you think about that, you have money in life insurance, think about how I can continue to make this money a slave to me, work for my next generation. And these are concepts that we always speak about on our group call. So if you ever need any more information, feel free to go on our site and become a Wealth Building member, and you'll be able to join our group calls, and you'll have more insight on what I mean by these generational wealth building conversations. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you then.